Well, sad state of affairs over here, boys. I got some chrome for it. It was necessary, unfortunately. The other ones had all busted bolts and couldn't do nothing. That's no bueno. No bueno at all. Oh, you can't really see in there. A little bit. There's a turbo. I don't know if this is any indication of what's to come, but brace yourselves. Somehow we went like 10 steps backwards. I don't know how I always fucking do that. Here we are. I did get, my dash air is done. And I traced all the wiring, and all the wiring is fixed. I watch, I don't know if you guys watch 359 Twin Sticks on YouTube here. He's got an old Pete he's working on too. And funny, his light switch, the same wire was tapped into for power, and they just strip it and fucking booger wrap a wire around it and then electrical tape it. I mean, the way people used to do wiring back in the day was just haggard at best. And it made me laugh that his was exactly tapped into in the same spot. But I got that fixed. I only use the heat shrink connectors. I'm kind of a Sally about that. I did all the air lines here. These are all done. And let's see if we can get this junk open. I'll show you a little bit about what's going on back here. I didn't trust the plastic with the air and the fuel in this particular area. There's so much metal, I didn't want it rubbing and having a potential issue. So I replaced everything, oil and air, on this side with push lock. And all the block is done back there. I just did them one at a time. It actually goes super fast. If you have the parts. So just one at a time, just kept plugging away at it, and before you know it, I was done. So I got the truck aired up. Both of my wiper switches are leaking, so they're on order from Dirks. The trolley valve was leaking. It was passing through, actually. I found a hole in the block without a fitting or anything in it, and I could hear a weird hiss under the hood after the truck was aired up, and we couldn't track it down. Well, it turns out I found an open port that wasn't being used, and I don't know if the blocks tend to leak a little like that. I'm not real sure what the deal is with that, but I put a plug in it, and then immediately thereafter this trolley valve started hissing. So I ordered a trolley valve from Dirks also. Where's that bolt? But the nice part about tracing all this shit was my fan never worked and the mirror never worked. And I'm happy to say I got both to work. And not only did we get both to work, well, clearly it's 86 out. I don't know if the fucking mirrors heat up, but the switch lights up. That's good enough for who it's for. I actually tested the fan though while it was aired up, and that does successfully come on, runs the fan nice. And I'm glad I traced it down too, because under the hood, I'll show you. I got new cab lights on order too. They're coming. Under the hood, in here. See, these are 231 and 232. Can you see them? Those are for a Kaiser hot water shutdown. And this wire here, 220, is the switch for the solenoid up there. That runs that solenoid up there, which turns your fan on. And it needs to be plugged into this switch here. This is a temperature switch. You see this wire here, E, is actually a splice. This big thing is a splice, and you can't read that tag back there, but that's 242. It's power throughout the truck. It's accessory power. So how this works is this will come up to temperature and make contact between these two parts and turn the fan on through the same solenoid that the override uses. But when I got out here the other day, this 220 wire never would have worked. It was actually, see, 285, this is 285 here. This is your hot water alarm. This just grounds out. And they actually had 220 wired here, where it is now, but they had the 285 on the other side of it. So if the truck ever got hot enough, it would have just shorted the fan out if you had the fan on the dash. It didn't make any sense at all. So anyway, the 285 goes here, which is just your regular hot water temperature. That'll ground when the engine gets over temperature. It's a hot water alarm, and it'll put the light on and the buzzer in the dash. And this one, I'm not sure what temperature that's set at to actually come on. I haven't been able to run it long enough to test it. I just did this yesterday and then pulled the whole rest of the truck apart like an asshole. So, but that should come on and actually run the fan with temperature now, which I don't know how they were driving it before, because it never would have happened. A little bit more air lineage we got done here. New hoses. I switched these over. These were replaceable fitting style, like it's on there now, but it had rubber line, and I figured we might as well just go get these, and then should I have trouble with one on the road, I could just pick one up at any local store and be done. Also, before they were rubbing on the edge of the hood here. This fitting used to be a 45, and they would come out. They would kind of come out and then fucking angle around, and everything was all janky. They were almost clear rubbed through. I don't, another deal, I have no idea how they got along as far with it as they did. So it's fixed. I did just get my bullet connectors here so I can finish wiring in there. I had them just kind of booger wired just to test, make sure everything worked. I had, good power and whatnot up here, so that's all good to go. I'll just, make the proper connections, and then they had this cool little thing that goes on there, and then the wire runs in it, so it kind of protects it, shields it from the shmoo. So we'll do all that. That's next on the list. But right now, my major dilemma is this shifter. Now, these Detroits always have in Peterbilts some kind of fucking retarded shift tower set up to either move them back or forward or fucking around sideways, whatever. They're retarded. And so this one, as is typical, is wore right the fuck out. There's a bushing down here that this guy slides into like this, but it's fucking wallered, dude. She's just fucking wasted. That thing is junk. And then also on the ball here, this has like side to side play in the actual bushing here. So there's like a metric fuck ton of movement that there shouldn't be, and it just acts like slop in between the gears, let's see. I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty fucking wallered out. I don't know. I'm not too sure what I'm gonna do with that yet. I think it's aluminum, so I'm probably fucked. So I was thinking, what I'll do here is I was thinking about building this up with weld. On the one side, you can see the one side is a different shape than the other side. So I was thinking if I build it up with weld, take up a lot of that clearance, and then I'll bring this down to my buddy. Unless you guys can, somebody out there could tell me where in the fuck to find parts for one of those remote shift towers like that. I've been through this is RTO 12513. I've been through every fucking parts manual I can find, and there's not even mention of one anywhere. They're just unobtainium. So if somebody could tell me where to buy this bushing, I will gladly shell out the ponies and buy one. But I don't think that's going to be the case. So I think what we're going to end up doing is bringing it to my buddy and have him turn one up in the lathe for me. Now that being said, I also need a spring here. You can tell that just pretty sure ain't supposed to look like that. But you can't get the spring off because somebody welded this junk straight together. So now I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna have to cut this, pull the spring back off, and I don't know, maybe make it a two-piece assembly, maybe just weld it back together because nobody cares. I don't know. But the floor was rotted out also, so that's next. Carpet was destroyed. See, we had a little bit of rain yesterday. You can see there, that's not supposed to be there either. So I'm pretty sure that's probably a little bit of the issue. I don't know if there's any more of them, but I got a new one of them. Ordered it from Dirk's. So I got to get that in before we do any major work in here, as far as you know, the floor is concerned, because that ain't gonna do me no good to fix the floor when the water just runs all over it. I was trying to chase my air horn. I did this one. This line here too was new. I got a new valve that was leaking, but I can't get the air horn to work, so I gotta get up there and maybe blow them out. I'm not. There's probably like 1,000 fucking bees in there. I don't know. But we're getting there. I also need battery box lid for this truck. This is from a buddy of mine. This buddy of mine down the road lent this to me. This is off of 379. Clearly it doesn't belong. It's got the wrong doodly doos on it. I need this style. So if anybody's got one of them they'd be willing to part with, I'd love to give it a good home. If you need a 379 one in trade, or you know, could make use of this one, I won't be using it after that, so I'd be more than happy to donate it. What else have I done to this junk? I don't know.